The voice of Husker Nation is on the air. This is Hail Varsity Radio. Insight, opinion, expertise, along with the biggest names talking Nebraska sports. Join in with the show at 402-489-1240 or 1-800-825-5865. Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it, Roadshow Friday here with the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark, as we invite you up to the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill just off of Westport Parkway in La Vista, 127-44. Snuck in like that game-winning field goal tomorrow, possibly, between Cabela's and Embassy Suites. Guys, a lot of news today. And a lot of news dropping from the Big Ten while Michigan's either in the air or landing on their way to Unhappy Valley. We will dive plenty into the Michigan Harbaugh suspension decision, 489-1240. Lots on Nebraska-Maryland. You're welcome to check us out on the stream, the Hail Varsity YouTube channel, Hail Varsity Radio, Twitter at HVarsity Radio. And can find all of us. Give us a follow on Twitter at Schmidt_radio, at Herbal Essence for Elijah Herbel and Connor Clark. Write it down because it's lengthy. C_Clark_27.
There's two of them.
I know, there's two.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to poke my eyes out, Connor, on the stream, or you're saying peace, or you're reenacting a great scene from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. So, coming up, we'll spend time with Jacob Padilla, the Pride of Fairbury, NBC Sports' Bill Doleman will have a thought or several on Harbaugh and Nebraska-Maryland. And then Clauseborne joins us with the Friday forecast, and we'll try and kind of work through a heavy news day on a Friday, right? Our second favorite F word is Friday. And
I've never heard you pull that one out before.
I heard it from our friend Animal, so I'm stealing, and I'm
That's a good one.
It is a great one. But our least favorite F word is fumble. We'll see if Nebraska can avoid that tomorrow. But let's ask this question. Did the Big Ten fumble today? Did the Big Ten fumble with their announcement, with their decision? If you're just catching up, let's reset it for you. The Big Ten is suspending Michigan's Jim Harbaugh from coaching in games for the rest of the regular season. The Big Ten found Michigan conducted an impermissible in-person scouting operation over multiple years, resulting in an unfair competitive advantage that compromised the integrity of competition. Michigan is expected to seek temporary restraining order, allowing him to coach Saturday at Penn State. We'll see if that happens. Michigan will likely go to a local judge. By going to a local judge, I bet that thing's already signed, allegedly, and you'll see him against Penn State tomorrow. I would bet that. And we'll have a response statement from Michigan here in a moment. Dion has jumped in. Love Dion being first in line. And Dion says it well. Michigan getting a wrist slap. Walter is still hung up on crab. #crab. I love it. Based on our crab cakes and football discussion yesterday. And you, Grandpa, says thank you to all the veterans. Absolutely. Thank you so much to all those who've served and provided protection and freedom for so many. 489-1240, the number to get in. Elijah, not the one next to me, wants Nebraska to win out. I think the one next to me wants us to win out. We've been arm wrestling, figuratively, with a road trip to Madison. That may be a reality if Nebraska gets it done tomorrow. But back to Michigan, let's get our reactions. I think this is a commissioner that's new. I think this is a commissioner that felt pushed by the 13 other league members, and he caved. And if you hate Michigan, and many of you do, you're okay with who it's happening to. What do you believe? Do you believe that there was this elaborate in-person scout? Yes, there's evidence of all of it. And not only was it pretty massive, but it covered several programs. You got to ask yourself this. Do you have a problem with the due process part of this investigation and this ruling? That's the big question. And it's really not negotiable, and you're innocent till proven guilty. And all right, what's that say? Is that West? Okay, it's a West Side fan. Yeah, West Side fan here at the bar. Yeah, you guys are awesome. But with due process, you need to have all of the facts in a ruling come out. I think the Big Ten is acting, fellas, here saying, all right, we have enough facts from the NCAA. They move at a glacial pace. So what they've given us, we're going to go ahead and rule on. We're going to appease the other 13 folks that are outrageously ticked off. At Michigan crossed a line. Look, college football, college athletics is dirty. It just is. You're at the line if you're not over the line. I'm not condoning it. I'm telling you what it is. And once you go over that line, you're like everybody else. You're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You just got to be smart enough to not get caught. Michigan got busted here. I'm more interested in the funding of this. Where'd the money come from? The guy's making $50 a year. And I don't know that he's that great at the old bingo hall or the sports book, or if he's got a sugar mama.
Did he have I don't know. Was check-in? Yeah.
I don't know.
All are very realistic possibilities.
Yeah, possibly. So help me follow the money here.
Well, the only way the NCAA will jump in is if he was betting on college athletics. That's when the NCAA
That's when they drop the hammer. You, sir, are done for 2 years.
You're done for life.
I think this is. Listen, Nebraska would never do this. I don't think Ohio State would do this. Or let me just put it this way. I don't think you'd do it to the level where you could get caught.
I don't think you'd be arrogant enough to put your business out in broad daylight.
You nailed the word, arrogant. And that is Michigan personified. Arrogance personified is Michigan in a league that is arrogant. Let's be honest. The Big Ten has both pinkies in the air, and they're drinking wine. It's what they are. We're part of it. We've been there a decade plus, we being Nebraska, and we're counting the money. Fine. It's stability. I get it. But the Big Ten is arrogant. They were arrogant during COVID with the backpedaling on play or no play. They screwed that up. Different commissioner, his first major decision. He gets in here, and he's trying to wield a heavy stick against your best team and your best team to win a championship this season. So I look at Michigan as an arrogant football program, and I think the commissioner has caved to the 13 others. That's my look.
Well, it's a commissioner. To me, this decision strikes me as a commissioner. As we appreciate Bruce hanging on the line. We'll get to you in just a second, Bruce. Strikes me as a commissioner in a decision which is trying to make everybody be as happy as possible. You know what? The 13
going to make 13 happy and one sad.
Well, they're not even really making one all that sad because the timing of this is just leaving it open for Michigan to file this stay of execution.
Look like I'm doing something.
We're going to look like I'm doing something, and we're going to file this. Hey, it's going to be a 3-game suspension. Michigan's 3 most important games of the season, but Michigan's going to file a stay of execution, if you will, and they're going to keep Harbaugh off the electric chair for the big matchup against Penn State. But hey, the other Big Ten schools will be happy because we levied down a punishment. There is a punishment for this. You can't cheat and get away with it in the Big Ten. 3-game suspension, but you get a coach during the week too, and you get to fly with your team to wherever you go, and you can stay in the hotel just as soon as the team bus leaves. Hey, your hands off.
Staying in that suite.
You're staying in that suite, and we don't know anything. Can he
how many points? Can he
call the coaching staff at halftime?
How many points? How many points is Harbaugh worth on the sideline? That's the question. I mean, is he the calming braid on that sideline? I mean, he's really good. He's been good at every stop he's been, but he's also surrounded himself with incredible coaches. He's recruited and developed elite talent, and his lines of scrimmage are second to none. And yeah, it's not a coincidence that since this alleged action started, he's 30-3. And was it a panic move if he did do this? And I say if, because there's no smoking gun yet linking him. And look, he was on the hot seat. He was teetering. He got his salary chopped in half. And what was the response? Michigan got better. They got more physical, and they won their big ball games. And they started beating Ohio State.
Their preparation got a hell of a lot better.
Exactly. They always had the dudes, but they now
crazy.
But they now had the prep was pretty much bulletproof. So Yay or nay? Do you think this is appropriate? This is an overreach. This is nothing but a wrist slap. I expect Harbaugh, and I mean, Michigan, when we talk arrogance, they are not only not punishing their own coach, but they are standing by him, which is what you'd want with an organization. But they're now challenging. I mean, they're doing something. They're flexing on their own league, and Nebraska did that back in 2020 just to play ball, and got spanked for it publicly and probably privately when you look at some of the scheduling. Michigan is absolutely saying, come on, let's play some chicken. And they're going to try and swerve and ram Padilla off the road here, and this injunction will probably happen.
And it should be noted that the Big Ten statement did leave the door open for more potential action as more information is uncovered. So that should
i.e. the NCAA.
But I said this was a decision that Petiti made, trying to leave everybody somewhat happy, no one too upset. You know what? You got this. You got the punishment if you're the Big Ten schools. For Michigan, you lose your coach for a couple games, but the postseason is still there. You still get to have him coach in the Big Ten championship game, assuming they get there. You still get to have him coach in the college football playoff. So with all that in mind, it's just going to be a decision that leaves everybody mildly annoyed. I think the rest of the Big Ten schools are going to say, man, this isn't enough for what they did. They gained a competitive advantage for years on us. And what did they get? Oh, they lose their head coach for 3 games, and 3 games that they're probably going to be favored in all 3. And they probably have a good chance at winning all 3. And then for Michigan, they say, well, now this looks bad for us because you have given a slap on the wrist to our head coach. The season is now tainted, but it's a 3-game suspension. So they can look at it and go, well, it could be worse. Like, everybody's just going to kind of come away with this going, bleh.
And he's going to appeal. He's going to get that
he's going to be able to
injunction. And yeah, he this has got to already be in the works. I know it's a holiday with Veterans Day, but I would think they've reached out to a local attorney in Michigan to get this injunction granted. They'll present it to the league, and he'll be on the sideline tomorrow. That's not official. David tweeted this and now checks in on the Hail Varsity YouTube channel. The big question is, who was he giving the information to? And who's the guy passing it on to, and so on and so on. What's the chain? What's the workflow of this? Who did Stallions hand it to? Who knew about it? You don't have any, you have not had a successful interview or investigation with the coaching staff. The coaching staff has not been interviewed yet with all the goings on of this. Let's go to the phones. Bruce, thanks for hanging on. Welcome into Hail Varsity. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys got a great show. Enjoy it. Listen every night on the way home from work. But on the way to work this morning on ESPN Radio from 5:30 to 7, the reason the NCAA come out with it today was because it's a federal holiday and all the judges were on, and Harbaugh will not be on the sideline tomorrow. Bet Penn State.
All the federal judges.
Federal. And they'll go local, just like when Nebraska sued to play in 2020. It was a Nebraska judge that heard the case and moved it forward legally. It was a local court. But, yeah, you're right. There's no federal play here for Harbaugh, but he's going to go with a local jurisdiction, I would believe.
Well, all your local judges around here in southeast Nebraska are on holiday, too. So hopefully he's not there. And the ESPN guys this morning thought he was definitely going to get reprimanded and possibly lose 6 games into next season.
Oh, wow. So it goes beyond not only this season, but next. But
I think there will be more punishment forthcoming. The question is Harbaugh still going to be around?
He's at the Bears wishing he'll be in Chicago or somewhere in the NFL wishing he was back in college by about halfway through the year. Bruce, thanks for listening, bud. Appreciate your
input.
Guys.
Thank you.
Man. All right, 489-1240. Listen, you want to make this hurt? You make this hurt financially. And let's look at Penn State, right? Different, it's apples and oranges here, but you look at Paterno, you look at Sandusky, you look at what they were hammered with, and that's 30-plus scholarships, I do believe, over 3 years for the Sandusky stuff. Joe Paul was popped. And then you also had a monster fine. I mean, I think it was in the neighborhood of $60 million by the league to Penn State. And then on top of just all the lawsuits that went forward. Would it make sense going back, if you have bulletproof evidence here, to say, okay, this has gone on for 2.5 years? It's undisputable. This happened. You're held responsible under your watch, and say they have some evidence eventually that links him. Do you find Michigan their share of the Big Ten TV revenue each year they cheated?
I don't think it's going to be a full share. I don't think you find them the full share. I mean, that's akin to a death penalty.
That's $200 million. That's $200 million.
I mean, that would be one of the biggest fines in all of sports history.
Sure, but I mean, I'm asking, what's?
I'm just saying, in comparison, the Astros didn't even have to give up their trophy.
Well, that's just a piece of metal, Connor.
I don't know if the Astros I don't know if Michigan's going to get fined $200 million.
I'm asking what's a fair number to you guys. Connor, jump in here real quick. Does this do much for you? Does it move the needle?
I mean,
this statement.
If they drop one of the games, maybe. I mean, if it keeps them out of the playoff, because I mean, at least that gives everybody else some sort of like, okay, well, at least
we won't do this.
At least for the short term, it's like, oh, okay, so the suspension actually affected Michigan in a negative way, like they've been affecting the conference for the last 3 years. So that could give people some temporary consolation, but overall, it'll probably end up being more.
Did they end up crushing Ohio State the last 2 years because they knew everything? How much did it help? It's hard to tell.
Something tells me this 3 games is all we're going to see in the near future.
Jacob Padilla is on the way with Hail Varsity.
Where's the perfect place to go for lunch every day?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Where can you watch all of your favorite college and professional sports all season long?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Who's got family-friendly entertainment all throughout the week, including trivia, music bingo, and live music every Friday?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Hurrdat Sports Bar in La Vista is the spot for lunch, date night, corporate events, or even a late-night cocktail. A one-of-a-kind spot for sports fans and more. Behind Cabela's in La Vista.
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman. Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
In Lincoln and Grand Island or online at starterheyman.com.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Eileen talks about her experience with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
A lot of gross kitchen in the beginning, cracked formica, bad floor, ripped linoleum, and I decided to heck with this. I want it done. And I found an ad from 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. I called him. Dave brought all of his stuff. We talked about what I wanted. I chose the materials. It was very easy. He came in. He did what he said. They did it in the time frame that they said, at the cost that they said. His crew was delightful. We came home. Everything had been cleaned up. I would say people are silly not to do 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. I just love it. It's just like I moved into a new home.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
For all your remodeling needs, call Good Guy Construction at 435-3355.
When your people are ready, your business is ready. Cintas makes sure they have what they need to perform their best. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, fire protection systems that are tested and inspected, first aid and safety supplies, floor mats, or cleaning tools and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together, so visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
There's still plenty to do in the garden during the fall months. Hi, this is Chris Goforth. Join me and the experts from Earl May Saturday mornings during In the Garden. We'll take your calls and give you the tips to make the best out of your outdoor space. Saturday mornings at 8:30 right here on KFOR.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you Friday road show here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, here till 6 here on Fridays. And we welcome in Jacob Padilla with Hail Varsity and Hurrdat Sports. At Jacob Padilla _ is where you find him. A whole lot going on when it comes to the world of high school and Husker hoops, Creighton ball, and Nebraska football tomorrow. Oh, yes, volleyball. Jacob, a take from you, though. Harbaugh is the news of the day. Michigan feeling the effects of Commissioner Petiti, his first major act as commissioner, aside from kind of securing and making the ink dry with the TV revenue, is now to slap Michigan and Harbaugh with a 3-game suspension. What does that do for you, assuming Harbaugh doesn't get an injunction and isn't still on the sidelines tomorrow?
The whole thing is so dumb. Like I don't really know. Like why were they doing this? Like, why are you scouting teams
advantage
that have no chance of beating you? Like, it just, I don't know. It's just so, this whole situation is bizarre. Like every little detail you learn about Connor Stallions and this whole enterprise, it's like, really? Like what? And now the way that Michigan's fighting back, trying to win the PR battle with their legal statements and all this type of stuff, and they're threatening to take everybody to court and everything. It's like, you guys screwed up. Just like, it is ridiculous. So I don't really care. I don't know what the proper punishment for something like this is, because I don't know. I don't think we've ever seen something quite like this before. And obviously the guy at the center of it is no longer part of the program. So like, you can't necessarily target him specifically. Obviously it has to impact, like, ultimately Jim Harbaugh is the one that is in charge of that program and everything that goes on in his program. And so even if, I mean, he didn't know, like, it doesn't, I don't really care if he knew or not. Obviously I think he knew, because how else were you using the information that this guy was gathering? Like, they're really making secret calls, his assistants under Harbaugh's nose. Like, the whole thing is just wild. And hopefully, I think I guess if we find more kind of wacky details that make it fun, cool, bring on more of those. But in terms of this whole deal, and I'm kind of ready to just move on from it and get back to football.
Well, Jacob, you have some experience as a coach, so I want to get your thoughts. What's the most egregious way you've ever cheated on the basketball court?
Well, it's kind of hard to cheat from the sideline.
No, it's not.
Hush. See, I'm at a low enough level that, yeah, I want to win, but there's nothing really that significant on the line for me. So it's more like just, hey, kids, go have fun. I never really felt the I guess the only thing I've had, like, kids sub for my team that weren't necessarily on my team because we were shorthanded, that I guess they weren't necessarily supposed to, but they didn't tell us we couldn't until after the game. So we did ask and said, just go ahead. So.
Now, Jacob, I'm going to pose a hypothetical to you from an old commercial, if you remember. What happens if end of the game, like say 30 seconds left?
Oh, no.
Ball gets thrown out of bounds and your player comes to the huddle and says, hey, coach, that one was off of me. Would you tell him to go tell that to the referee so the referee can make the correct call?
See, so my question about that is...
No.
Well,
you remember the commercial, though?
I remember the commercial, but the question is, does that even matter? Like, are the officials going, like, can they change their call based on what they're told from anybody on the court? You know what I mean? Like, they made their call based on what they see. If they go to him, like, really, are you going to reverse the call? Oh, because he said it. I don't even know if, like, that's, like, how that even works. So the fact that, like, yeah, great on that kid. It's a good example of being honest or whatever. But yeah, the whole thing, even from the idea to do it to, oh yeah, we'll flip the call here. The whole premise is just ridiculous.
Well, I'll say as an umpire. I'll say as an umpire really fast. If a kid came up to me, I call him safe at second. He goes, you know what? I was out. I'd say, you shut your mouth.
Set a good example.
Not what I saw.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, everybody complains about calls and refs don't change their call based on somebody complaining. So why should it be the other way around? But before we jump into more football stuff too, Jacob, just your thoughts on Nebraska's first 2 games, and then a quick touch on the 18 threes that Creighton decided to make on Tuesday night.
Yeah, for Nebraska, I think we're the first one was pretty easy. Things look good. You had a lot of different guys playing well. Second one was a little bit more of a grinder. They didn't play nearly as well. Obviously, they still won by a lot. But Florida A&M is a very bad team. As I saw watching them twice in the same week. I'm glad I will not be watching them anymore. But I think we're starting to see the impact of kind of the injuries and the guys being in and out. Like the chemistry just doesn't seem totally there yet on offense. It was just kind of a little disjointed, I think, in that second game. And it's understandable, especially you've got Casey Tominaga is going to be a huge part of what they do. And he hasn't been out there. He basically he's barely been out there with his teammates this entire time, even going back to the summer, because obviously he was back home training, working with his national team. It wasn't there during the overseas trip, along with a few other guys that weren't there or weren't able to play. And so like they haven't really had the full picture of what it's going to look like and so it's hard to like settle into roles and understand, all right, this is how it's going to work for me. This is where I'm going to get my shots, because what they've done so far isn't what it's going to look like ideally once they move forward. So I think that's a little bit of what we saw in that second game, just guys trying to figure it out. Sounds like we could see both Casey Tominaga and Juwan Gary back next week. They've got 3 games next week, busy week coming up. So it would be good to get as many bodies back in the mix as possible. And the sooner you get those guys into the mix, then you can start seeing what it's supposed to look like. For Creighton, that is exactly what it's supposed to look like. They're in a different spot. They hit the ground running this season. And I mean, you look at both Wayne State and Florida A&M, kind of their game plan going in initially was, all right, we're going to give Kalkbrenner a lot of attention. We're going to take away that roll to the rim. And if you devote resources to doing that, then you're going to end up leaving guys open. And what we saw is the unselfishness, the ability to knock down shots, just the chemistry of like, all right, I know where my shooters are. We're getting them the ball, skip passes, driving kicks, extra passes. It was just humming at a high level. And they're going to be an absolute nightmare to defend this season if they continue to shoot the way that they're capable of, because they're basically on every possession, they're going to leave you with only bad choices. Unless you can just straight up guard everybody one-on-one. If you've got 5 all-world defenders that can really hold their own and nobody's going to get beat, you can get over screens.
Which is nearly impossible.
Yeah, like people don't really have that. So that's the way this team was designed is, all right, we've got our roll threat. We've got our screener. We've got a guy spacing the floor. We've got some really talented guards that know what to do with the ball in their hands. And so you're going to have to pick something to take away. And what you pick to take away will beat you the other way.
Jacob, real quick, a thought on Nebraska-Maryland tomorrow. What way you leaning? And can Nebraska get bowl eligible? It's been a long time since Nebraska fans have felt that joy.
Yeah, obviously Maryland was a lot more interesting early on than they have been recently, hit some struggles. So I guess that gives you a little bit more hope for Nebraska's sake. But on the other side, you're still kind of worrying about the offense. And the idea of going with Heinrich Harburg, even when kind of the turnover look ran out, was that, all right, he's young and he'll learn on the job. He'll kind of figure out as he goes and hopefully improve. It doesn't seem like that's really happened, that we haven't really seen that growth. While at the same time, teams are starting to figure out what he has done well and take that away better, and daring him to do things that he hasn't shown capable of doing just yet. So that's kind of where you're at in the season where you're like, you're kind of like, you need something to start clicking a little bit more for him. And obviously all the pieces around him continue to make that difficult. It's with all these conversations, it's not ever on one person. It's all of it together. Multiple guys not getting the job done on a lot of plays. But I think the defense will probably do their thing, try to give them a chance to hang in there. But the offense is going to have to find something out, find a way to move the ball, because I don't know. We saw last week the defense solid overall, but had a few big breakdowns, and that was enough with no margin for error for them to lose the game. So can you expect the defense to be perfect again? Can you expect the defense to do your scoring, to give you short fields every time? That's asking a lot. So it's definitely a game that Nebraska can win, but they're going to have to play a lot better than they did last week in order to get it done.
Jacob, what game or two do you have circled tonight in the state playoffs? Semis are upon us.
Yeah, I think Class B in particular. I think I'm going to head down to Waverly. I have not seen Waverly play yet this season. I've seen Scott once. I have seen all 4 of the Class A semifinalists, so I figured I'd get down and check out that game. So I think both those. I think Bennington Elkhorn North was 14-0 the first time they played, but like that's for Bennington this year. Like I mean, Elkhorn North was able to hold them to 14. You figure out a way to move the ball a little bit better, make that even more interesting. Meanwhile, that Scott and Waverly, I think two teams that are similar in a lot of ways, but different in others. I think Waverly is a little bit more prone to air it out with their quarterback, but the quarterback can also gash you in the run game, and they've got 3-4 different guys that can carry the ball, just like Scott with their option offense. Their fullback, they've got a couple running backs. Their quarterback can really hurt you on the ground. So they're going to be like 8 different guys that'll be carrying the ball on any given possession there in that game. So I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. That's where I want to head down there. Class A, Elkhorn South and Millard South. I was there for the first one. It was a really weird game. Obviously, Carson Runner got knocked out mid-game there. There were some weird plays that put points on the board. I think both teams have gotten a lot better since then. The question is, Elkhorn South now with Madden Riggs kind of established at the quarterback there, can he do enough to against that defensive line? He wasn't ready to play him the first time they played, and the Elkhorn South just could not move the ball. They're going to have to find a way to move the ball against that fierce defensive front, and it's going to have to be both run and pass, I think. Brady Busquets had a great season. He did not play in that first game. That's going to make a difference. But I think that one's going to be a lot of fun to watch for sure.
Jacob Padilla, follow him at Jacob Padilla _ Jacob. Thanks for the time, bud.
Thanks for having me, guys.
High school football Friday night, the Class B semifinals of the playoffs as Waverly hosts Omaha Scott. I'm Jeff Moats. Join me for the play-by-play. Coverage begins at 6:50 right here.
FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No 2 situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no 2 people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. J.D. Power now ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. During our Black Friday sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
You know,
Some body shops are like fortune cookies.
Todd Spidell, body shop owner, terrible driver.
They always tell you what you want to hear, but they don't always deliver on their promises. Spidell Body Works will tell you the truth about what it'll take to fix your car right, how long it'll take to repair, and what kind of parts are needed. We'll even explain to you exactly how your insurance company handles the claims process. Oh yeah, don't let them tell you that you have to go to a certain shop. Just tell them you want to use Spidell Body Works for your repairs, and we'll take it from there. And we give a lifetime warranty on our repairs, which is more than you get from a fortune cookie. The only lifetime warranty they give is that it might come true sometime in your lifetime. Here's my fortune. Your magnetic personality will draw people to you this month. I wonder what that's supposed to mean. Did I mention the probability factor of fortunes coming true? Oh well, back to Spidell's.
Accidents happen, even to good drivers. If it happens to you, call Spidell Body Works. We won't try to sell you a car, change your oil, or paint your car for $2.99. But if you want your vehicle fixed right, Spidell Body Works is your best decision after a collision.
Hey, this is Dan Bongino. As a former NYPD police officer, Secret Service agent, and a TV host, I'll bring Nebraska an honest perspective on the day's event.
Hail Varsity Radio is live. Now, back to Schmitty.
Schmitty's a great guy, but he don't have a brain.
And Elijah.
You want me to speak? When I point at you, yeah.
On Hail Varsity Radio.
Big thanks to Jacob Padilla, Hail Varsity Radio Roadshow. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Come on out and get here for Nebraska-Maryland tomorrow as well. Westport Parkway in La Vista, 12744, nestled right in between Cabela's and Embassy Suites, right off the interstate. Awesome setup, glorious TVs, whiskey, beer, bang bang sauce, appetizers, burgers, pizza. You're going to love it. We love being up here on Fridays. Fellas, we're talking Michigan and the NCAA. Oh, wait. They have not responded. But Commissioner Petitti has, and if you're just catching in, 3-game suspension for Harbaugh. We believe that Michigan will back Harbaugh with this temporary injunction, and we'll see if Harbaugh is actually on the sideline. As of now, he's suspended for 3 games. Let's get Michigan's response. And we know that the state of Nebraska loves Michael Wilbon, so we'll hear his response to it as well. This is Michigan's reaction to the Big Ten saying, Jimbo, you can coach during the week. You can't be at any facility on Saturdays. So Michigan says this in response. Like all members of the Big Ten Conference, we are entitled to a fair, deliberate, and thoughtful process to determine the full set of facts before a judgment is rendered. I wish I could do it in the Dean Wormer voice. Today's action by Commissioner Petitti disregards the conference's own handbook, violates basic tenets of due process, and sets an untenable precedent of assessing penalties before an investigation has been completed. We're dismayed at the commissioner's rush to judgment when there is an ongoing NCAA investigation in which we are fully cooperating. Commissioner Petitti's hasty action today suggests that he is more about reacting to pressure from other conference members than a desire to apply the rules fairly and impartially. By taking this, by taking this action at this hour, i.e. less than 20 hours before kickoff, the commissioner is personally inserting himself onto the sidelines and altering the level playing field that he is claiming to preserve, and doing so on Veterans Day, a court holiday, to try and thwart the university from seeking immediate judicial relief is hardly a profile in impartiality. To ensure fairness in the process, we intend to seek a court order together with Coach Harbaugh.
How ironic is all of that? I mean, come on. Talk about level playing field, fairness. The whole investigation is about a non-level playing field, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, that's kind of amazing to me.
Well, the whole thing I think they're trying to come from here is, well, you haven't submitted any proof that Jim Harbaugh himself, made this an unlevel playing field. So here, by sticking your neck out and suspending Coach Harbaugh, you are doing what you swore to protect, and you're creating an unlevel playing field for Michigan. Well, Jim Harbaugh represents the football program at the University of Michigan.
He is the football program.
He is the football at Michigan. Exactly. The buck stops with you. So if you and anyone in your program was a part of creating an unlevel playing field, which at this point, the facts are all there. It's almost inarguable at this point that Michigan and Connor Stalions was stealing signs, and therefore you, being the head coach of the University of Michigan, the buck stops with you. If you didn't know, you should have known. That's a problem there, but I think it's very fitting that within the first 10 words of that statement, they say, we are entitled. Yes, you are, Michigan. Yes, you are. How fitting is that to throw that right at the beginning of their statement?
This is from Football Scoop, and this goes back to October 18th. That's the day in what they refer to as an extraordinary event in some of the wording here. And you've got multiple pages here from the commissioner to Michigan with their sportsmanship policy ruling here. And you had that day, October 18th, with the president of the NCAA, the commissioner of the Big Ten, and the University of Michigan leadership all had a call where the NCAA and the Big Ten disclosed the evidence they had. That same day, Big Ten Commissioner Petiti and on another call, had a call with Michigan president, the AD, and general counsel. October 18th, Michigan leadership took no action against Connor Stalions. On October 19th, Michigan leadership took no action against Connor Stalions. On October 20th, Big Ten commissioner called Ward Manuel, the Michigan AD, to ask if they planned to take action against Connor Stalions. Later that day, Michigan suspended Stalions with pay. So Michigan is just digging their heels in, saying, bring it. You want to take us on, we will sue your ass, and we'll see if things move forward in that direction. This is kind of a fun fight. Jason Wilbon piled on Nebraska.
Wilbon?
Michael, excuse me.
There it is.
My fault. Michael Wilbon piled on Nebraska. Michael Wilbon is part of that Northwestern Mafia, national talking head, and his reaction to Michigan a little bit earlier on PTI.
This is an overreaction. But look, there's no question Michigan broke some rules here today. My thing is the rules are nonsense about scouting. So you can call up your buddies in another team and not only get information that you've gleaned about that team from just having played them, but share it with other teams, yet you can't pay a scout to go. This is nonsense. But let me give Brian some credit. We were talking during the break. Michigan has never been a sympathetic entity.
You're talking to a Buckeye here.
And you're talking to a Buckeye and a Big Ten guy. And I am against this, but this is going to drive Jim Harbaugh out of college football.
He's been suspended for 6 of the games this year.
Yes.
But Michigan's still probably the best team in the Big Ten.
And Michigan's the only chance that the Big Ten has of winning the college football playoff this year. So the Big Ten is going to cut off its nose to spite its face here. I'm stunned at this. The amount of money that this could swing. But let me just say this real quickly. That team is going to have to rally, and I think they will.
We'll get further into Nebraska-Maryland. This Michigan situation's fascinating. I think Michigan galvanizes. I think they respond. You're going to see a boatload of free Harbaugh shirts. What do you got?
We have J.J. McCarthy chiming in on Twitter.
Okay.
He has said only one word. Bet.
I'm sorry. That's the most J.J. McCarthy response of all time.
It is. But
I mean, the dude was wearing a free Harbaugh shirt at the beginning of the year. Like this was discovered 8 weeks in advance rather than right now. I mean,
I guarantee Michigan has an us against the world mindset right now. And that's what he's saying with the bet. Like, oh, you want to hamstring us some more? Because they think the Big Ten, the NCAA is out to get him. I am almost guaranteed.
You're going to play that card. It's the principles of disrespect.
So it's JJ McCarthy saying here, oh, you want to hamstring us?
You think this will derail us?
You think this will derail us? Just watch. That's what he is saying by bet. So Michigan money line tomorrow? I don't know. It's looking pretty good in my humble opinion. I think that Penn State team has some flaws.
Save your prediction here, but
I will save my prediction here. But you have dumped gas on a fire of Michigan right
They're
now.
already out to murder people.
Yes.
Because they know this could be the last hurrah for Harbaugh anyway.
Exactly.
But the topic of due process, it seems a little rushed, and I'm the last defender of Michigan. We'll wind down hour one here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill Hail Varsity Roadshow.
Hey, you. The one on the couch who just told your friend you can't go out because you're busy? Ready to get real about your psoriasis? When your current treatments don't do enough to help control the inflammation beneath the skin, causing plaques and pain, stressing and scratching, it's time to stop hiding and get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. That's why you get 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, because every home deserves to be protected. Right now, get 50% off the whole home security system named the best of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. Visit simplysafe.com/radio to save big today. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Get 11% off everything now at Menards. Owens Corning Pink Foamular insulation panels have superior moisture resistance for interior and exterior applications and are the first line of defense against heat loss through basement walls. Look for the pink panels and save. Right now, get 11% off on all insulation products at Menards. Good through November 12th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
When your watch needs to be repaired, take it to someone you can trust. I'm Dave Wolf of the Time Shop. We've been repairing watches in Lincoln since 1970. We do all kinds of repairs, from watch battery replacement to major overhauls, and all work is done right here in our store. Battery replacements and many minor repairs can be done while you wait. When you don't have the time, think of the Time Shop next to McDonald's at 6450 O Street, Lincoln.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart, it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. J.D. Power now ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. During our Black Friday sale, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down.
And now.
And now, back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Back here, Roadshow Friday, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in La Vista. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark. It's Hail Varsity Radio. We are here till 6 in La Vista here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, 12744 West Port Parkway. Come by, say what's up, get a whiskey before you're headed off to high school football. Get a Dr. Pepper if that's your poison, and get an app or something really tasty to eat. Chuck chimes in on the Michael Wilbon sound from last segment. Wilbon's a clown. It's a bad rule, so that means it's okay to break it.
I am the Michael Wilbon hate out here pains me as somebody who, like, you know, kind of grew up a Northwestern guy.
Sure, but you remember 2020.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think the resentment there is perfectly fair. It just, I think he has a point in the fact that you can exchange information. The fact that you're allowed to do that, I think, is stupid. But I understand the resentment of the point he's trying to make. Well, if you can do that, then you might as well just be able to do this. I disagree with that part.
How did you get your information? Did you go off video copy? Did you go off TV copy? Did you code break like everyone else has to code break? No, you allegedly sent people. You had a whole stallion army going to different stops around the college football world. And you had a headset and you were side by side with coordinators on game days saying, guess what? It's 3rd and 9. They're going to throw it to that guy named Harrison. Oh, wait, that's what I'd call. But there's two things. If you're Petiti, yeah, you look like you're caving. I've said that. You also can't look like you're protecting a team that is on the doorstep of a national championship to your other members. So, Elijah, I think you absolutely rocked it earlier with you're trying to look like you're doing something and keep everybody happy. The other part of this, too, is, all right, there's probably not a lot of Jim Harbaugh fans. There's some coaches that will respect him. He's just a weird, different dude, right? I mean, Harbaugh's on his own planet. But if you're Ohio State and Ryan Day, and if you're James Franklin and you're Penn State, specifically in the East, you've had cracks at beating him. And quite honestly, Harbaugh, I should say, Franklin's done okay against Michigan when they had their little dip. But there's a lot of coaches that are mad they can't beat Michigan. So how do we get him out here? Well, let's get him banned from the league. And this maybe was his own doing. If it's ever proven that he's linked up, it makes sense that, yes, he should know or did know what was going on. We don't have proof of that yet, or may not. But with Harbaugh, it's he's a guy that's easy to root for. If you're a Michigan fan, he's a guy that the rest of the college football world is just, the guy's too kooky to like. And then you slather on that extra helping of Michigan arrogance. And you got other guys, specifically Franklin and a guy in Ryan Day, that are they're feeling the heat because they can't beat Michigan. They haven't beaten Michigan for a while.
Well, what do we think of the due process? I know we're going to get out, and we're going to get back to Husker football next segment, because I understand the due process argument of like this.
The NCAA needs to be quicker and better, and they've never been that way.
But this strikes me as like a guy who kills his wife, and then you find the murder weapon in his car. What do? You arrest him and you make sure you hold him without bail.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you'll get your day in court eventually. Don't get me wrong. But for now, we're going to make sure your ass is locked up.
That's fair.
That's what this investigation strikes me as right now.
It's difficult to begin when you don't know what the end will look like. At Reynolds Design and Remodeling, you can see the finish before work starts.
With our computer-aided technology, you can see and sense how your new kitchen will look and function before we begin work. I'm General Manager Pam Magner. Not many remodeling companies offer this. We do.
See your new kitchen before it's built. Start today at reynoldsdesignremodel.com.
Now is the best time of year to fall into savings with Nextlink Internet. For a limited time, we're offering 50% off installation costs to make it even easier to switch. With Nextlink Internet, you'll enjoy blazing fast internet speeds up to 500 megabit with wireless and up to 2 gigabit with fiber. Plus, you can bundle your phone service for additional savings. For fast, affordable connections for your home or business, call Nextlink Internet at 402-656-6669 or visit us online at nextlinkinternet.com.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Hi, I'm your host, Smokey Colbert, filling in for Smokey because after 75 years of...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Turns out there's much more to say. Nearly 90% of wildfires are caused by us humans being careless, dumping our youth barbecue coals willy-nilly. Guess the song was wrong. We did start the fire. That's why I respect Mother Nature and her trees, whether coniferous or new car scented. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester.
This is your station for local news, talk, sports, and weather. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. Congress has just 7 days to come up with an agreement to keep the government running past late next Friday night and avoid a shutdown of many services. ABC News political correspondent Rachel Bott.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, they agree that they need more time to negotiate long-term spending bills and some sort of long-term spending agreement. And so everybody agrees that they're going to have to pass what's called a continuing resolution. It's like a temporary patch to give them more time. The question, though, is what does that CR, continuing resolution, actually look like?
A potential government shutdown and other things like debt ceiling disputes, inability to quickly choose a new House Speaker are cited by Moody's Investors Service as it lowered its ratings outlook on the U.S. government to negative from stable. Ratings agency says it contributes to low expectations to deal with the budget deficit. Wall Street closed with solid gains for the day and for the second week in a row. President Biden, Chinese President Xi will meet next week at a big Asia-Pacific conference as the White House. The Israeli military denies that it attacked a hospital in Gaza City. ABC's Inez de la Quatera in Jerusalem.
The head of the Al Nasser Hospital tells ABC News the facility is encircled and 60 to 70 patients in the ICU may die if they are not evacuated. Israel has accused Hamas fighters of hiding in hospitals. The militant group and hospital staff deny that. More than 11,000 people have been killed in Gaza, according to the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry.
The Big Ten announcing that the University of Michigan has been found in violation of the conference policies, and that could sideline Michigan's coach, ESPN's Pete Thamel.
The Big Ten is saying there was enough evidence that they received from the NCAA that disrupted competition during this year amid Michigan's alleged illicit sign-stealing scheme that they felt the need to punish Michigan this season.
He's ESPN senior college football writer. You're listening to ABC News.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first date felt like our quinces. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Good evening. This is Connor Clark. It's currently 55 degrees at KFOR. A detached garage unit caught on fire early this morning behind a home near 20th and Hardwood in Lincoln's near South neighborhood. LFR spokesperson MJ Learman tells KFOR News fire crews found smoke and flames.
They had a boat inside, and it is a total loss, valued about $30,000.
No one was hurt in the fire, and the cause remains under investigation. It's the sixth day in the search for 35-year-old Tyler Goodrich of Lincoln, who hasn't been seen since last Friday night. Family, friends, and volunteers on Thursday searched an area around Wilderness Park in hopes of finding any clues to Tyler's disappearance. Tyler's mother, Shelley Goodrich, talked to KFOR's media partner, 1011 News.
I thank each and every one that has taken time off of their work, neglected their families to conduct this search to bring Tyler home.
Shelley Goodrich and the rest of the family continue to work with Lancaster County Sheriff's Office and other law enforcement as the investigation into Tyler's disappearance continues. For the 25th year, the Veterans Walk of Recognition will happen Saturday for Veterans Day, starting at 9:30 a.m. at the southwest corner of Memorial Stadium and ending at the Veterans Memorial Garden in Antelope Park. Because of the Nebraska-Maryland football game Saturday morning, parking will be limited around the stadium, and if you are interested in joining the walk, park over by the Veterans Garden at Antelope Park, and someone will drive you back to the stadium in time for the walk at 9:30. A Veterans Day program will then be held at 11 a.m. inside of Auld Pavilion at Antelope Park. The Class B State Football Playoff semifinals are tonight as Omaha Scott plays Waverly out at Viking Stadium. You can hear the action on KFOR and KFORnow.com beginning at 6:50 p.m. Brought to you by the KFOR Sportscasters Club. Lincoln's first forecast currently 55 degrees and sunny at KFOR tonight. Mostly clear conditions with a low temperature of 37 degrees. And then on Veterans Day, partly sunny with a high temperature of 58. This is Connor Clark with KFOR News.
This is what we have been waiting for. The hype is over.
Kansas City Chiefs football is at KFOR. Experience every pass from Mahomes.
Now Mahomes darting to his right. He's holding it, fires it late. He's got Marquez down to Stanley. Right sideline, 10, 5, stretches out with the left shoulder. Touchdown, Kansas City.
Every home and away game is heard here on Lincoln's Chiefs football station. FM 101.5 KFOR.
Keep up with the local news, sports, your favorite talk shows, and pro shows on KFOR wherever you roam. Stream us 24/7 at KFORnow.com or on your mobile. You can download the free iHeart or TuneIn app and stream KFOR on the go.
The following is a paid program. Content is provided by Hurrdat Media. He's the pride of Fairbury, an average Joe. Bill Doleman, the professor.
I had a 6 ACT in 1967. One time I got an A and my grandma beat me for cheating.
Now with Hail Varsity Radio.
Back with you. It's hour 2. It's Hail Varsity Roadshow Friday here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark. Bill Doleman in the on-deck circle. We'll get him locked in and on here in a moment. Reminder, we're powered by Cornhead Lager, which is just outstanding. More of your stream comments while we wait. Bill Doleman will dive further into Nebraska-Maryland. RS checks in all the way from the Philippines. RS, thanks for listening. Appreciate you doing that. Delane Johnson says with the sign stealing scandal and Harbaugh suspension, it's a lot like insider trading. Someone misheard you about killing a wife.
That was an analogy.
The analogy being the guy's going to be locked up because the authorities think this dude whacked his wife, so you're not going to let him free.
Yeah, it's
until his trial date.
There might not be enough evidence to get you a death sentence right now, but there's sure enough evidence to lock you up and make sure there's no bail. Eventually there's going to be enough evidence here that you will be able to get the full punishment. And I think that's what people are hoping for from the Big Ten right now. I guess like the other 13 member institutions is you see a 3-game suspension. You know what? That's sending that guy to jail and keeping the bail money. You know what? You don't get any bail. You got to stay in jail, and we're going to get the trial eventually, and then we're going to lock you up permanently.
But
and
you're still letting him
is
be around the team Monday through Friday. Bill Doleman is with us, pride of Fairbury.
It's not a perfect analogy, but it's pretty good.
NBC Sports and at Bill Doleman on Twitter, the professor. Billy D, 3-2-1, pull the grenade pin here. What's your reaction here to Petiti, the Big Ten, and Michigan probably going double bird here to the commissioner? They're saying let's play some chicken.
Get used to hearing this. Holding Michigan 15 yards from the front of the foul. Interference Michigan 15 yards. Sideline warning Michigan.
It's going to be 2010 Nebraska A&M every Saturday.
They're the officials who did the Nebraska-Michigan State game last weekend have been reassigned. Happy Valley. Yeah.
The Big Ten just bought them a house in Ann Arbor.
I'm not a gambling man, but I'm liking Penn State more and more. Not because of the penalty. I think Michigan is going to be extraordinarily motivated to play because they're just mad that everybody ganged up on them. I heard you earlier, Schmidt. I'm not exactly. They're arrogant, no question about it. I'm not sure Michigan's the arrogant wine drinker. That's more Pac-2 conference. They're more like porting a cigar arrogant, at Michigan and the Big Ten. I think in general, the SEC just knows they make the best moonshine of any conference, and the Big 12 drinks Busch Light.
Stereotypes are fun. I mean, let's go there for a moment. It is an ascot. It's
what do you think they let Rutgers in the conference? They had to get somebody from New Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you need a bouncer. you need a bouncer.
Somebody in textiles in the conference. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The SEC is Leonardo DiCaprio from Django Unchained. That's the SEC.
I was going to go with guys that have a gun rack, and if you have a gun rack, no disrespect, don't beat me up here, but yeah, they. When I think of the SEC, I think of the Ruth family in Ozark.
Too trashy.
Too trashy.
Slightly too trashy.
Yeah,
I guess my experience with the SEC that was Ole Miss, which is much more
which is them in Michigan would hang out.
Well, they're the plantation owner, whereas Michigan is the lawyer.
Easy.
Not in a bad way. Not in like
hold on.
Yeah.
There's a good way to own a plantation. No,
plantation has a negative connotation.
Yes.
It's just a large area where you grow crops. A plantation.
so
it's got the
corporate farmer.
Sure, corporate farm. It's the same.
Here's what the Big Ten is. It's the black cup of coffee on the street corner in Jersey. It's that arrogance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Okay.
Michigan's the big time lawyer in a small town. Did you guys watch the documentary on the Murdaughs?
Not
the
yet.
Murdaugh murderers. They're the Murdaughs.
We're hung up on murder today, aren't we?
Yeah, I get on the show and you're talking Philippines, and I'm like, where is this show going today?
Yeah.
And I listened to some Crew Crime documentaries on the way back from Michigan State, so that's what I'll blame for all the murders.
You had a lot of time to do so.
Look, this whole thing has been comical from the beginning. I've been amused by it, and I'm thinking, okay, look, if you're going to really, send a statement on this thing, take it to the extreme, and you're going to vacate wins like was talked about earlier when everybody was really getting all pantied up, then you take away the money. Okay. If this is really bad, then you take away whatever Michigan made in the games they're alleged to have had this elaborate cheating scandal. And again, my thing has always been, if they are doing some type of surveillance in the game itself, that to me is wrong. This to me is reading very deeply into the gray areas of the rule book, and they did it, and for however they used it in games, they did. But if you really wanted, to me, okay, they've come down with something. This punishment of Jim Harbaugh is absolutely zero. Okay, he gets to coach his team during the week. He gets to set the game plan with his coordinators. He gets to travel. He gets to watch the team movie, and then he'll watch the game. And I'm sure that there's going to be some way, shape, or form that he is connected to the sideline, right? The job in the game, is management by the head coach and calling plays by the coordinators. So on that route, if you really wanted to hurt Michigan, I think you suspend the coordinators for the next 3 games. You let Jim Harbaugh coach it, but we've all seen the videos. Okay. And who has 007 been talking to on the sidelines? He's been standing next to their coordinators, calling out plays, mouthing whatever he has said, but he's been standing next to those coordinators as much as he's been by Jim Harbaugh. So if you really want to make it kind of hurt, then I think you suspend the coordinators, not just for the game, but for the week. Okay. They're not involved in the game planning. You can suspend them with pay, whatever. You've got money now because, Stallions is forfeiting his $50,000 a year salary because he quit. But if you really want to make it hurt a little bit, suspend both coordinators for the remainder of the season. There you go. Jim Harbaugh, you can be the head coach and you can coach your team, but you got a hell of a lot of work to do because you're in charge of everything now.
I think the Monday through Thursday or Monday through Friday association also lessens this penalty because he's still going to be around his team, getting them prepped and ready.
Right. I'd say, do I have to go to Happy Valley? Can I just stay back? I mean, I can call him as easily on my cell phone from Ann Arbor as I can call him from the hotel in Happy Valley. Maybe they're taking away his cell phone. Whatever, they're going to have communication with Jim Harbaugh wherever he happens to be. Right?
He'll send some signs somehow, right?
Yeah. There'll be smoke signals coming out of the hotel in Happy Valley.
There'll be an airplane that keeps flying over Michigan Stadium.
No, there'll just be a screen on Michigan's sideline that's Jim Harbaugh on a Zoom call.
This has been a joke.
They'll have one of those little robots going around that's got Jim Harbaugh's face on the screen, just driving around the sideline.
This has been a joke from the beginning, and to say they're punishing them by this. I mean, come on. All you're doing is telling everybody else this is all it's going to be. And Jim Harbaugh is not the one who's getting punished, remember. It's Michigan that got punished, right? And they said because he's the face of the program, but Michigan, the program is the one that is getting punished by this. Michigan is not going to be allowed to have its head coach on the sidelines. It's not Jim Harbaugh's punishment.
Bill, let's go to Nebraska-Maryland. As you've looked at this matchup, Big Red need this in a giant way. Down to 3 games left. How you feeling going into kickoff tomorrow morning?
Well, like I said on Average Joe, I think that the fact that the game's at home, it really does benefit Nebraska because this is just an unusual Big Ten series. I think people forget that Maryland's even in the conference, and out on the East Coast, they probably forget Nebraska's in the conference. This seems like one of those obscure non-conference games that comes around every 15 years or so. Oh, we're playing Pacific this year. We have Arizona State on the schedule. We haven't played them in a while. So for Maryland to be coming into foreign land, to everybody out in Maryland, Nebraska's flyover country, they might be mesmerized to find out there aren't cornfields everywhere. But I think that the fact that they've had to travel into this place where they're not familiar with is somewhat of a big deal. I'm not as enamored with Tagovailoa as everybody else is, in the fact that he's made out to be this great dual threat quarterback, and he's a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong, and I don't mean to diminish his skills as a 65% passer with 2,500 yards through the air and 21 touchdowns. But he's not a runner. He's got like 50 yards on the season running the football. It might be 30, and he's run the ball 50 times all season. So he's a scrambler. He keeps plays alive. I think for Nebraska defensively, they got to put pressure on the quarterback, but this is a 3-3-5, right? So I think those 5 in the secondary are going to be especially critical. We've been talking about the pass rush, stopping the run, but they've got 4 receivers over 30 catches. They've got about 1,700 yards amongst them. I think it's on the secondary to really, that maybe that 3-3-5 becomes a 3-3-6. Let's sneak an extra guy out there on the field and shut those guys down. That's where I think the game is going to be won or lost. Him scrambling and Nebraska locking the receivers down.
And Bill, what I'd like to know with Talia's stats, you talk about the dual threat, is how many times has he been sacked this year? Because Shedeur Sanders is kind of the same way. He's somewhat dual threat, and I'm pretty sure his rushing numbers this year are negative because of how many times he's been sacked, which is a weird quirk to college football scoring. So I just am concerned that Bill Doleman hops on a Friday show and says that he's not the dual threat he's made out to be, because that seems like, with what I've seen with Nebraska in the past 10 years, the perfect recipe for Talia going for 125 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns tomorrow.
It could be, because they've locked down the secondary so well, and he does find the seam and he does pick up big yards. But, McCarthy got a lot of yards from Michigan running the football. But a lot of the quarterbacks this year that have run on Nebraska's black shirts, and I mentioned this on the show last week, have been scrambling out of dropbacks and running 9 yards to pick up 3, or running 10 yards to pick up 4, And so I think that might be the thing with Tagovailoa, is that he keeps plays alive, but he's first and foremost looking to pass the ball. I just don't think it's a dual threat. I think it's the threat of him keeping plays alive long enough to throw the ball for one of those guys to get open. What's that?
He's been sacked 20 times this year.
That's what I thought.
So of his 53 rushes, 33 are true rushes, and I need to figure out the yardage that was lost on those sacks. But still, 33 rushes across 9 games is nothing significant. 4 rushes per game.
He'll extend plays and be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, right. That to me is the issue. It's the secondary staying on receivers, locking them down, and not letting them break free. And next thing you know, somebody's running deep in the secondary and there's not a Husker around them for 20 yards and they score an easy touchdown. It worries me when Mike Locksley said, what was it? The key to the game was explosive plays and turnovers or something. Well, yeah, he pretty much nailed that. I remember Mike Locksley when I covered him at New Mexico. Very nice guy. Wasn't a great head coach there, but a reclamation project for Nick Saban. And he got an opportunity to go back home and coach at Maryland, and he's done a great job there. It's a much better situation than the one he had when he floundered at New Mexico. But great, he's a terrific guy, and he's an enjoyable interview. So he's an easy guy to root for, except tomorrow.
Bill, now with that kind of ability of Talia to keep plays alive rather than more so just kind of running it. I mean, how concerned are you with Nebraska's capability to contain him, one? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you with Nebraska's offensive production tomorrow? 1 being not concerned at all and 10 being extremely concerned. We got about 90 seconds.
I was going to say, what's 20? You know, I think it hurts Nebraska, and it's amazing to say this, that Prince Well it probably is not going to play. You know, we're talking about true freshmen making such a great impact. So James Williams, the guy we never heard of 3 weeks ago, is going to be, critical. I think those edge rushers are so fast side to side that it's very tough to get away. It's up to the interior lineman to contain, which means Cam Lenhart, another true freshman's got to play well along with Hutmaker. Maryland's a dangerous team, but I think Nebraska could be a dangerous place to play tomorrow. I think Nebraska fans will be kind of juiced. And I think the black shirts, and I think everybody looks at that Michigan State game going, we probably should have practiced on Sunday, and come back. I think that would have done them good. They were embarrassed last week, and it gets worse every day as we get away from Michigan State.
Bill, before we get you out of here, we need both your prediction, and you said one of the keys is turnovers and big plays. I assume you're going to predict a Nebraska win based on what you just said now.
Objectively speaking, yes.
Win? Which one does Nebraska win? Do they win turnovers or explosive plays?
I think that they're going to let those young pups at the receiver position run free a little bit more, and I think Nebraska is going to get some calls on deep throws. So I think Harbaugh connects on a couple of long touchdown passes, and Nebraska wins it 93-14.
Nebraska with the cover, and Bill Doleman says the over, the obvious over.
And it's 4 field goals and a safety.
Okay, all right.
There you go.
Wow,
man, Doleman
bold 14.
Channeling his Arizona.
Well,
State.
you were big on Florida State and Miami, Elijah. So I'm calling my shot.
Billy D, come get Guinness tomorrow morning if you want.
Oh, it's duh. that's first day of class stuff. My house.
Pride of Fairbury, NBC Sports, Bill Doleman. Billy D, thanks for jumping on tonight.
See you. Go Big Red.
There he is, Bill Doleman. More from the Hurrdat Sports Bar on the way.
Where's the perfect place to go for lunch every day?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Where can you watch all of your favorite college and professional sports all season long?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Who's got family-friendly entertainment all throughout the week, including trivia, music bingo, and live music every Friday?
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Hurrdat Sports Bar in La Vista is the spot for lunch, date night, corporate events, or even a late-night cocktail. A one-of-a-kind spot for sports fans and more. Behind Cabela's in La Vista.
Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill.
Pizza makes football season, and Lazari's has been doing pizza for 30 years. And the one place to get your pie from, Lazari's Lincoln. Log on, lazarislincoln.com, and make your order today. New York-style pizza in Lincoln since 1993. Locally owned. Incredible daily lunch specials, sandwiches, calzones, and a wonderful beer selection. Lazari's Pizza at 4701 Old Chaney Road in Lincoln. Dial them up today at 402-423-0234.
Dell's Black Friday event is their biggest sale of the year. Shop limited time deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top brand accessories. Shop now at Dell.com/deals to take advantage of financing options and get free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals for huge savings today.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Trust is a foundation of any strong relationship. It's earned every day.
At 1011, it's the way we cover the community we call home.
Working hard to fact check, verify, and get the story right.
It means alerting you first to severe weather and preparing
for what's ahead. It's telling the stories that bring us together and make us proud to be Nebraska.
Trust Cole Miller, Madison Pitch, Chief Meteorologist Ken Shumick, and Sports Director Kevin Suits. The most watched, the most trusted. That's 1011.
It's being well supported by a provider who understands your health interests and goals. It's ensuring you are well connected to a team of caregivers and specialists. It's feeling well cared for by having someone you can turn to who sees you for you. That's the power of being well
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
You know, I love these Fridays where we get a surprise visit from Vic in Denver.
Well, Vic in La Vista.
Yeah, Vic in La Vista. We invite you out to the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill here till 6. Friday forecast coming up with Clauseborne as we will dive into the weekend slate of games with Claus's take and unique perspective. Harbaugh suspended. And we can go ... That is pending what is game on tomorrow, Nebraska and Maryland. So we'll take your predictions now in the stream. The Hail Varsity YouTube channel can also carry those over to tomorrow morning, and we'll read some of those off, 489-1240. But kind of pick up on a question you had, Elijah, with Doleman and Loxley. Circled it. It is explosive plays v turnovers. And, you know, I wonder if there is a bit of a correction tomorrow on a few different fronts with Nebraska. What's your guys' take on this? But Nebraska had some success against Michigan State where they ripped off some explosive runs, not 20, not 30, not 40, but you had a 16-yard run and the 12-yard run. And Nebraska even went on 3rd and long with some shotgun run. Mm-hmm. Can Nebraska just settle in and say, okay, stop us running the football, Maryland, and, you know, stick with that for a while? I'm not saying don't pass. I'm not saying tribute the 85 Sooners and not throw a pass. But get your stud dudes that are young pups with track excellence downfield and make them throw a flag or give them a chance to go win some 50-50 balls. Nebraska's offense can be explosive. That's how they went 3-0. They just had just enough. Defensively, I think Nebraska will be out for blood and they'll play fast and confident. And the tackling's been really incredible. Now, Nebraska's going to have to be as good as they've ever been when it comes to tackling in space tomorrow. But Nebraska will be better with the turnovers, but they've got to force at least 2. They've got to at least force 2, Elijah, and they've got to find a way to make it 3 and not 7. Maryland may hit a home run or 2 and get a couple of touchdowns on big plays, but the rest of the time it needs to be stalled and they need to be pressured.
Well, and here's the thing to me. Whenever I look at this Maryland team, I think the number you'd like to hold them under in terms of explosive plays, when I'm talking explosive
6
plays, I am talking plays of 30 or longer.
Yep.
I think you need to keep them under 1 1/4. So I'll go 4. That's a reasonable number with how this defense has been playing.
1 1/4.
Keep them under 4. 1 explosive play, and some people define explosive plays as plays of 20-plus yards. I'm going to define it as 30-plus. So I'm just going to lay that out right now. And I think if you can hold Maryland to fewer than 5, so 4 or fewer plays of greater than 30 yards, I think you're in a great spot. Now, what is a little concerning about that is if you do go 4 times, Maryland gets a score from 50 yards out or 60 yards out. Now Maryland's got 28 points on the board, and it becomes a lot worse. But I'm going to assume that not all of those explosive plays are going to be touchdowns. So if you can do that, I think this offense, with what we've seen, deep shots to Malachi, deep shots to Jalen Lloyd, occasional run plays that they bust one off, it's a Tynerk or it's Emmett Johnson. I think Nebraska can reach 4 explosive plays with their offense. And if you can match that number, I think, and I say this with concern, I think you can lose the turnover battle and still have a shot to go win this football game based on how well your defense has played. And I'm not saying go lose the turnover battle 4-1. I'm saying lose it 3-2 or 4-3 or something like that. There's going to be turnovers in this game. I think there's going to be turnovers from both teams. I think you have to keep that number close. I think you have to keep the explosive play number somewhat close. And you can lose both of those. And if it's close, you still give your team a shot, but you really need to go win one of those. And that's where my concern in this game lies, is those are two things that I think Maryland does marginally better than Nebraska: explosive plays and keeping the ball away from the other team. So with those things in mind, that becomes why I lean Maryland, and we'll get to my prediction here. It's going to be a close football game, but you got to at least be even or better in one of those two categories, or if not, pretty damn close.
Jump in here in a sec, Connor, against one of the better defenses in the country, Maryland, to your point about that key number of 4 from an explosive standpoint. Maryland had a 30-yard pop, a 20, a 28, and a 20. That was it. They had 4 explosive plays against Penn State.
And with my definition of 30 yards, that's only 1.
Right. I counted as 20 yards in the passing game, but to your point, they didn't have any touchdowns. Those big plays did not result in touchdowns. So probably the best defense Maryland has seen this year has been Penn State, also Ohio State. When we look at the box score and the explosives, rushing wise, you had a 17-yard and a 10-yard gain and just 2 plays of over 25 yards in the passing game. So again, that number of 4, pretty important. How do you see this shaking out, Connor?
I think I like Nebraska to win the turnover battle more than I like them winning the big play battle, because
time of possession too is, I mean, can Nebraska make that a thing again?
Well, I understand that Nebraska was able to break some off, and there were some nice, kind of mini post routes to Fedoni and whatnot throughout that Michigan State game, and those were good. And there were some pretty timely throws, honestly, by Heinrich. I thought he fit some balls into some nice tight windows. But like on the explosive play, I believe it was Alex Bullock. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that's a deep shot, right? Something that Matt Rule's been dialing up here the past couple of weeks, and it's worked. And then you go into Michigan State and you do that, and it's there, and the throw is nowhere close. So I don't know if that hinders the trust at all. I don't want to say it does, but I like Maryland to have more explosive plays because that's just Maryland's brand of football. I mean, they like to play fast, especially offensively. But I do like this Nebraska defense to cause a little bit of havoc as well. I agree with what you said earlier, Schmidt. I think they're going to be playing pretty ticked off this week because of how they thought they played last week. I mean, they still gave Nebraska a more than good chance to win that game down the stretch, especially. But I think they come into this game with a purpose on the defensive side of the ball. The secondary needs to make plays, obviously. I mean, that's something that they almost did against Michigan State, but they need to build on making plays in that secondary. And it'll be interesting to see how that ends up, sorting out here defensively for Nebraska. I think a couple of interceptions is going to go a long way in this game if they can get it.
Stoney, he'll have a bounce back. He almost had a pick 6 that opening drive against Michigan State. He's coming off a really good couple of games in a row, and then he had a little over aggressive. I don't think it's a confidence issue with him, but does he just kind of get on his screws, so to speak, and rebound that way? You look at Quentin Newsom and how well he's played. And he had really good coverage where they called that touchdown good for Michigan State. So I like Nebraska's corners. I'm looking for Gift to have a bounce back. I'm also looking on the offensive line for Nuri to come back. And he came back and for his teammates and rushed back from injury at that right guard spot. Both the guards had a tough day last Saturday. And I think they'll try and rebound. I really like Nebraska's matchup if they'll stick with it and get some early success running at Maryland.
And Brian chimes in here on the stream. He says, Big Red just needs to limit the turnovers and play like there is tomorrow. Let's go. And the one thing I'll say there is saying they just need to limit the turnovers is
saying like Schmidt needs to grow.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a loaded statement.
I think they probably tried to limit the turnovers against Illinois to no avail. I think they probably tried to limit the turnovers to Northwestern to no avail. I think they probably tried to limit the turnovers against Purdue to no avail. They probably tried to do it against Michigan State to no avail. At this point, you are what you are, and you need your defense to step up and get that number to even. And the X factor there that you might not find in the stats is, can Nebraska set up the offense on a short field? Can the defense get a score defensively? We've seen the special teams touchdown. We still haven't seen a defensive touchdown this year for Nebraska. Can somebody step up and make a play and generate some offense in that way? It doesn't have to be a touchdown, but can you set up Nebraska's offense inside the red zone? Can you make a back-breaking play that inside Memorial Stadium with the fans involved shifts the momentum of this game and gives Nebraska the leg up in that way? Can this defense make a big play in an X-factor kind of way that might not show up on the stat sheet but can swing this momentum towards Nebraska? Nebraska's going to need something like that tomorrow, because as it currently stands, I don't like their odds to win the explosive play battle
matchup
or the turnover battle. So what can you do from an X factor point of view that can get the crowd into it, that can set up the offense with a short field and can do something that might not show up in the box score at the end of the game, but is going to show up in a way that can swing the game?
Well, and quite honestly, Northwestern and Michigan State both, I think, had looks or game plans or just flat out personnel that Nebraska either didn't prepare for or didn't stalemate. They got beat too many times in some instances on offense, and you saw Harbaugh in both those games, Northwestern and Michigan State, get off to some slow starts, and he just looked hesitant, right, with what he was seeing, and really never got a clear view or look with what he was seeing and wanted to do on offense, and really not a quick audible change. I mean, he had to change out of what was called quite a few times in both of those games for an audible. And you get him into a different play, you get into the right play, but what do you get out of that play once you change it? And we'll see if Nebraska can be, I don't want to say more prepared, but better to go to a plan B and have a better plan B execution wise. So Nebraska-Maryland tomorrow, it is going to be imperative. And I love what our old boy Vers said, full throat, full beer, and get it cranked up tomorrow morning as we'll be down
11.
Yes, we'll be there at the Single Barrel 7 to 9 for the weekend edition ahead of kickoff. Real Red Reaction follows. I'll be at the Single Barrel with the live post-game show, and Elijah and Connor also joining me along with Tim Bob. So we'll see if Nebraska can get to 6. We'll have our predictions here with the Friday forecast here in a moment.
And one thing that the Single Barrel does have for you folks out there going to the game tomorrow:
a wall of whiskey.
Whiskey with a side of whiskey. And I'm saying that's the way you get
with
fired
dessert,
up for an 11 a.m.
whiskey.
kick.
Yeah.
A dessert of whiskey.
It's the trifecta.
See, I said
Don't
earlier
forget
this
the
week,
appetizer.
the dessert is the vodka Red Bull before you go into the stadium. But if you make it another whiskey, I mean, I'm not going to judge you.
No, there's no judgment.
I mean, you got cookie dough whiskey. You got.
We are not going to pull
whiskey.
We're not going to pull a Big Ten and rush to judge you here.
That was a good pull right there. Way to bring that full circle.
I mean, I'm just saying it is either you're saying free Harbaugh or fillet Harbaugh with where you're at in this college football landscape, specifically in the Big Ten.
Lock him up.
Well, and speaking of locking up, you do have Michigan. They have hired the Williams Collins law firm from D.C. Those are Bill and Hillary's lawyers.
Oh, so watch out for the murder then, huh?
Ouch. He's kidding. Lawsuit potential.
Clinton family, I'm kidding.
He has Clinton lawyers. Michigan and Harbaugh have Clinton lawyers. The forecast on the way. Claus will chime in next to Hail Varsity.
Operation Santa is in full go mode. Continue the over 70-year tradition of helping Santa secure the gift of choice for hundreds of local children in need. Get details and donate securely now at kfornow.com.
This is Captain Kelsey Marino with the Salvation Army here in Lincoln. You may have been wondering why we put a giant tree outside of our building on 26 and Potter. This tree is a beacon of hope to our neighbors in need. Your gift to the Salvation Army this Christmas season brings hope to families right here in our community. Please consider your gift carefully. Mailers are arriving at homes now. Whether you mail us a check or drop your donation in one of the red kettles, know that your gift is making a difference this Christmas for a family in need right here in Lincoln.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-369-9202. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns, help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-369-9202 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-369-9202 to see if you qualify. That's 800-369-9202.
Here's something you've never heard before.
Stop. This is Simply Safe.
Introducing 24/7 lifeguard protection, only from Simply Safe Home Security. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplysafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Hi, I'm Steve Carper for O Street Carpet. For Christmas, we're doing everything possible to help you spruce up your home without making a dent in your holiday budget. If you need new wood flooring, new carpet, ceramic tile, vinyl, area rugs, or custom blinds, you want to shop at O Street Carpet. We offer 12 months same-as-cash financing, Lincoln's best selection in stock, free in-home measuring, and we'll install it right away. 1732 O Street. We want to make you a customer for life.
Coming up on a Monday on the Morning Hookup from 10 to 11, we'll look back. Nebraska, Maryland.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
Thanks for hanging out. Hail Varsity Radio Roadshow Friday. We're here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in La Vista, right between the Embassy Suites and Cabela's. So you're invited up. We're here on Home Game Football Fridays. Come see us. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel, Connor Clark. And we'll get into the Friday forecast. Cornhead Lager helping power Hail Varsity Radio as we welcome in his imaginary. He wears red. It is time for the Friday forecast. Claus, have you made your way to Lincoln? How are you?
Well, I'm doing all right. Getting ready for an exciting game, of course, tomorrow, and visiting with every eye doctor I can to make sure that the officials this week are up to par. So it's a pretty busy Friday night.
How did you react to said touchdown call?
I've blocked that out of my mind already, Christopher. Please don't bring it up again.
What about the pass interference call? Or
what are you guys trying to do with me here?
You're just
had a good week.
Down.
I love it. Well, we'll head to Unhappy Valley. It's Penn State. It's Michigan. It's Michigan -4, at least before the Harbaugh news. He may still be on the sideline because of an injunction. We don't know. We did not make that part of the forecast, the over-under on the injunction grant. But let's get going here. Penn State, I like Michigan. I still like Michigan. And I like Michigan to win, but I like Penn State to cover 27-24. Give me the Wolverines.
I also like Michigan here. It's a chip on a shoulder type game. Bill kind of nailed it. They still have their coordinators on the field. Those are the ones that are calling the game and really impacting it. You might have lost a guy that's an emotional leader, a leader in that way in Coach Harbaugh. I still think Michigan just got way too much talent. I think they win this game. I think they cover. Give me the Wolverines 24 and Penn State 17.
Connor, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree. I got Michigan here as well. I think just too much talent all over the field, and that once again proves why this entire cheating thing is just completely unnecessary. I'm going to go Michigan 31 and Penn State 21.
And it should be noted this line, since the news has come out, has actually moved towards Michigan. It's now 4.5.
Wow. So you take Jim off the sideline, you gain a half a point. Wow. Claus, what happens here? Penn State or Michigan -4 Wolverines?
Well, I'm not so convinced that Jim Harbaugh won't be on the sideline there in Happy Valley.
Fair enough.
Not because of the injunction or anything like that, but they have a little bit of a problem there in keeping coaches out of places they're not supposed to be at Penn State. So I fully expect him to be there, and I see the Wolverines winning 31 and Penn State 24.
Claus is with us. It's the Friday forecast. It's Hail Varsity Radio. Off to Seattle we go. -9.5. Penix, Washington, Utah, and Whittingham riding in on that Harley. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick Utah. I'm going to pick Utah for the outright win. And I'm going to pick Utah because of their physicality. I think the defense responds. I know they didn't play well against Oregon with another high-flying offense, but Utah's just got a little bit too much grit. Washington's been going the wrong way. And give me Utah 24. Give me Washington 21.
Chris, Washington hasn't looked as impressive as they did earlier in the year, but they still have Michael Penix. I still think Michael Penix is the Heisman frontrunner, and I think he probably locks it up this week with a big performance against Utah. Utah, their physicality, they keep it close, but too much Michael Penix, too much Washington. The Utes cover, but Washington wins 28-20.
Connor, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree. When you put Seattle and Michael Penix together on a Saturday, that usually doesn't work out well for the other team. I'm going to go Washington, and I want to give them the cover, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'll go Washington 34 and Utah 27.
Okay. Claus, what happens here? Dogs or Utes?
Well, Christopher, I, like you, am not as impressed as these young guys are by the big Penix energy. So I will say, sometimes Utah looks like they've got a pretty solid offense, and other times they look a little bit more like Iowa. So it's really like there's two Utes. And if Marissa Tormé taught us anything, sometimes the unexpected winner is the one that happens. So I'm going to go with you, Christopher, and I say Utah gets the upset 28 and Washington 24.
We head to Columbia, Missouri, Tennessee. Vols -2. I love me some Coach Eckler. I think too much Missouri. Coach Drink's got it going, and I think it's all Missouri tomorrow. 31-27, the win outright by Missouri.
I think this is a close game. I think the Vols get it done. I think they cover just barely. I like Joe Milton. I like what he's been doing for Tennessee. Missouri's flown under the radar. I wouldn't be surprised if they get an outright victory, but I'm going to take the Vols here 31-28.
Connor.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should start putting some more respect on Mizzou. I feel like they've just kind of been flying under the radar the entire season. I'm going to go with the outright win. I'm going to go Mizzou 35, Tennessee 28.
Claus, you going with the Tigers or Rocky Top?
Well, I like Tennessee a lot more. I'm sure you guys, some of you may know, I'm not a big fan of playing Missouri late in the season. You may remember 1978 and 1997 didn't really go as planned those days. Of course, one of those was the fault of Warren Powers, and one of those was to the credit of Scott Frost, two guys who both thought they'd be pretty good head coaches at Nebraska. So I think I agree with you guys who picked Missouri. I think they'll take this one 28 and Tennessee 21.
Rutgers, Iowa. I think Rutgers is probably your fourth best team in the Big Ten. I think they score enough on that Iowa defense. Give me Rutgers 17. Give me Iowa 10. Rutgers gets to win number 7 on the year. Give
me the under. I don't even care about the score. Just take the under. 28 points. Take under that. It's free money. I'll take Iowa here 10-7. It's going to be an ugly football game. Right. It's going to be a low-scoring football game. Actually, no, I'll change 13-7. Iowa gets it done. They win. It's the unders. Everyone who bets the unders is happy.
Connor. I'm
going to go Rutgers in the victory here. I agree with you. Rutgers, when did we ever think we'd be saying that they're the fourth best team in the Big Ten? Not me. So I'm going to go Rutgers 13 and Iowa 10.
Claus, Iowa, or the Scarlet Knights?
Well, it was interesting. I was scrolling through this new thing I found called YouTube, and I found a copy of the 1999 Nebraska-Iowa game which, of course, was Kirk Ferentz's game. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't work to not change your offense for 20 years. I think we all know that I believe it can work, but it really hasn't for Iowa at all. So I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to take Rutgers 5 and Iowa 2.
A 5-2 and a outright win for Rutgers.
We all picked the unders, though.
A bases loaded single with
because
2 outs
we all
and
like
9.
money.
Yes. Claus, hang on the line for us. Sorry to hold you over, but we got to do it. It's Nebraska. It's Maryland tomorrow. Final thoughts in the Friday forecast continues as we're live here at the Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill in La Vista.
It's becoming tradition at this point to keep Claus for an extra segment. He's just too good.
Well, and I hope Claus is in town so I can get him a red beer tomorrow morning. All right, prediction next, Nebraska, Maryland. Here on Hail Varsity Radio, the Friday forecast continues on.
The Legacy Retirement Communities beckon you to enjoy the independence, comfort, and peace of mind they offer in their own special way at all of their locations. Connect with others, enjoy fabulous food, educational programs, fitness centers, and more. The Legacy Communities are filled with movers and doers who embrace every stage of life. Seize the opportunity to live each day enriched and grateful. For a tour, call 402-436-3000 or visit legacyretirement.com.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want? I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now, get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/sips. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now only at bartesian.com/sips. That's BARTESIAN.com/sips for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/sips.
The Lincoln Wedding and Celebration Show is back Sunday, January 7th at Embassy Suites downtown. Visit with a variety of vendors to plan your big day. Admission is free when you register online by January 5th. If your business is interested in hosting a booth at the event, there's still plenty of time. Contact Alpha Media to reserve. The Lincoln Wedding and Celebration Show, Sunday, January 7th at the Embassy Suites downtown. Get your free tickets now at KFORnow.com. The A Street Market, your neighborhood grocery, has pre-Thanksgiving savings. Our family 5-pound flour, only $2.89. Baking chips, just $2.49. And powdered or brown sugar, $1.79 each. Bob Evans mashed potatoes or macaroni and cheese, $3.97 each. Our family frozen vegetables, 4 for $5. And Jessie Lord cream pies for $7.99. Shop A Street Market at the corner of 33rd and A in Lincoln. Now offering free delivery with no minimums.
Those crisp fall mornings, the changing of the leaves, pumpkin spice to everything. There's nothing quite like getting out into the community to enjoy all that fall has to offer. Don't let allergies put an end to all of your fall plans. At Lincoln Pharmacy, your community health mart pharmacy, we're here to help you make the most of your fall. Find your allergy relief at Lincoln Pharmacy at the corner.
And now,
back to Hail Varsity Radio.
One final time, Hail Varsity Radio Roadshow Friday here, Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Come on out, get to La Vista sometime soon and enjoy your favorite sporting event. Watch some Husker Maryland football tomorrow if you don't have that streaming service. Many of us don't yet, as much as we all love The Office. And, hey, get settled in here. We are on the road in Lincoln tomorrow at the Single Barrel, so you're invited out there from 7 to 9 a.m. with the weekend edition. Then Real Red Reaction follows, and you are invited out for that. Without further ado, let's get to the Nebraska pick against Maryland. But reminder to you to get buckled up. Use your seatbelt. It saves lives. It prevents injuries. Only if properly worn. Buckle up. A message from the Nebraska Department of Highway Safety Office. Many thanks to all of you who've chimed in on the stream with all your comments. We'll take more of those tomorrow morning. I don't think Nebraska's got it fixed, clearly. I think the defense will play better, but it might be a bit of deja vu like Colorado. Tight for a while, then too much Maryland. Turnovers, the issue. Still a problem at quarterback, and Nebraska won't stick with the run game. Give me Maryland 27. Give Nebraska 10. A big-time Terp win tomorrow. Elijah.
I think the defense steps up. I think the key number is going to be 17. If either team can get 17 points, I think they are your winner tomorrow. I do think this Husker defense is going to do a good job of keeping Maryland to field goals. That's going to be huge tomorrow, and I think they make one big play that sets up the Husker offense with a short field inside that red zone. With all that in mind, I think Nebraska goes even on turnovers. I think they go even on the explosive play battle. I think they win the game 17-16, despite the fact that Maryland might have more offense. I think the defense steps up, makes a big play, and maybe even gets a defensive touchdown. But I think those two Husker touchdowns, one of them will be as a result of the Husker defense stepping up to make a play. But give me Nebraska 17 and Maryland 16. The Huskers get it done, and the Huskers are going bowling for the first time since 2016.
That'd be fun. Connor, what happens?
I've been going back and forth in my head all week about this, which direction I want to go. And I think, stop me if you heard this before, I think Nebraska loses close. I think Maryland 21 and Nebraska 17, and we're going to have to wait another week.
Ooh. Claus, what happens here? Turtle soup or go Big Red?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm really glad this streaming thing didn't come around about 12 years ago. I can just picture the midnight phone call now. We tell Carl he needs this particular service, and then I have to go bail him out of a jail in Omaha because he broke into the zoo and stole one of those blue birds. That's the only scandal I can think of dumber than the one Michigan found themselves involved with. So glad that didn't happen. As far as this game goes, I think Maryland is one of those teams that when it starts out, things look great. And then as it progresses, it kind of falls off, much like a date with Christopher. So I think Nebraska has a pretty good chance tomorrow. I think they take it. Late game heroics, unsurprisingly. What it's going to take? I say Nebraska 24 and Maryland 21.
Claus says the Big Red by 3. Claus, we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Thanks for jumping in today.
Okay.
There he goes, Clauseborne. He's imaginary. He wears red. Part of the Friday forecast. I think I'd picked against Nebraska since Purdue.
So, dating like through Purdue. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, you're just saying you got last week right? Okay. Yeah. Well, so you're 1-1 in the last 2 weeks.
It works out. Better than some. Talk to you tomorrow from the Single Barrel tomorrow, 7 a.m. See you there.